So check out this clip where Nick Wright actually admits that Jalen Hurts is on a Hall of Fame career trajectory. I don't know if you guys caught this before, but I want to play this.
And you're absolutely right, KW, and we'll look back on Jalen Hurts and say if he just didn't drop the ball in the Super Bowl that flipped the game and they lost it, maybe he would have been a Hall of Fame.
Remember, Jalen Hurts can only lose the game. He can't win it.
Well, Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson's the comp I've been making. Bruce hung up on the Terry Bradshaw one, but
he's on a Hall of Fame trajectory.
Jalen Hurts?
Trajectory. Like, he's not in, but you don't think trajectory?
Time for tears.
Of course he is.
Thank you. That's a topic.
All Super Bowl MVPs.
If looks could kill, I'd be dead.
I agree.
The way Nick looked at.
I agree with you guys.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't want to talk about Jalen Hurts all
Time for tears.
Right.
He agrees. Begrudgingly agrees. I also love how, Jalen Hurts is the reason why they lost that Super Bowl. You guys know I've already ripped that take a million times because it's absolute nonsense, as we've seen a million quarterbacks win Super Bowls and win big games, and they throw interceptions and fumbles all the time. None other than Patrick Mahomes has done it. So, Tom Brady, et cetera, et cetera. But you're right. It's only Jalen Hurts. It's only Jalen Hurts. It's only Jalen Hurts. But that's where I want to ask you guys. Do you think Jalen Hurts is actually on a Hall of Fame trajectory? And it's interesting because Nick, he did admit, he did say yeah, and it wasn't like, it wasn't tongue in cheek because he was like, yeah, I do. I don't want to talk about Jalen Hurts right now because they're obviously going into their tiers and whatnot. But it is interesting. It is interesting. And then the question is what does Jalen Hurts need to do in order to solidify his role, his place as a great quarterback? And what can he do to hurt it? Because it's, again, like Wild said, and this is what I had actually said the other day, is that it's just like the Philadelphia Eagles have to go undefeated. Jalen Hurts has to win every single game, right? This is like anytime they lose, anytime he's not perfect, like, he could throw for 350 yards but throw an interception, and they'll be like, see, this is the problem. They're concerned that when they ask Jalen Hurts to throw the ball a lot, he's going to throw interceptions. And it's just like, okay, whatever, right? Because all the quarterbacks in the NFL always never have interceptions, right? Like, it's just, it's always just this double standard with Hurts. And so then that's the question, though. Then it's just like, what can Jalen Hurts do? If Jalen Hurts wins another Super Bowl and plays great in said Super Bowl and is a Super Bowl MVP and then continues to have the same years that he's had, these seasons that he's had over the years, but doesn't win any more Super Bowls, because I got news for you, winning multiple Super Bowls alone is pretty hard to do in general. I mean, we got these legends who have either had no Super Bowls, one Super Bowl, or like two Super Bowls. There's only a handful of true players that we look at as like all-time special talents where they're like, yeah, they got 3 rings, they got 4, whatever it is. So it's like, let's not pretend like this is basketball where like every great player you're expecting to get like 3, 4, right? Like if Steph Curry only had like 2 rings, you'd be like, oh, it was good, but it feels a little bit of a letdown. Like, it's not how we talk about quarterbacks in the NFL. Let's be very clear about it. Let's be very clear. So it's just like, what would Jalen Hurts have to continue to do? And again, don't give me the nonsense of like, well, Eli Manning 2 rings and this, that. And it's just like, what Jalen Hurts has done during the regular season is obviously, clearly, significantly better. I already had a whole breakdown comparing those careers. So it's just in a lot of ways, I'm on the fence as to what a Jalen Hurts needs to do. I don't think he needs the prototypical Josh Allen moments like we've seen. And I'm using Josh Allen specifically right now because he had a huge game against the Baltimore Ravens, right? And everybody was like, oh my God, this is like the greatest quarterback in the history of the universe. And you could see a lot of him just, you can see these like big highlight moments that jump off the screen in a way that I would say that people don't think of when you saw even Jalen Hurts, who played great in that comeback win against the Rams, even though he was making huge throws. And you have someone like Colin who's just like, he just threw it to A.J. Brown, and A.J. Brown the Rams, they don't have anyone on defense who can handle A.J. Brown, right? And like, nobody was saying that about Josh Allen when people were like, well, nobody could handle Josh Allen's receivers or something like that. That's not the conclusion that people were drawing from each of those individual games. And so I don't think it's going to be these moments, because think of the Super Bowl, the first Super Bowl, where someone like Nick's like, he fumbled the ball, even though he did put the team on his back. He was making insane throws. He was making insane runs. He was doing everything, but there was a fumble involved, so therefore, yeah. And it's just like, what? Like, okay, I guess. So I don't think it could be those moments either then. Because you're going to turn the ball over. You're going to have fumbles. You're going to have interceptions, but for whatever reason, Jalen Hurts gets hit extra hard when those moments happen to him. But, okay. So then the question is like, okay, well then is it just winning? Is it just winning? And it's just like, I don't know about that now. Because again, Eli Manning, Trent Dilfer, Joe Flacco. But it's like, okay, but if he has 2 Super Bowls and 2 Super Bowl MVPs and he continues to play great, it's like, no. It's like, so then what will Jalen Hurts need to do? And it's just like, he'll need to do something probably historically great. Like rip off here now. I don't want to say go undefeated, because that's like too extreme to me. I mean, obviously if you go undefeated and you win a Super Bowl, it's like, right, what are we talking about here? But it feels to me, the Philadelphia Eagles have to have they have to have a similar year to what they had last year, where they just wallop, where they continue to win. They can lose a game or 2 games this season. They could lose to the Bucs. They can get rocked by the Bucs, whatever. But as long as they now just rip off nothing but wins from that point on, and even if they have a couple tough, gritty playoff wins, as long as they convincingly win the NFC Championship game, and Jalen Hurts is able to be like, I was a big part of that. I'm Jalen Hurts. Sorry for the mic bang. And then in the Super Bowl, I'm Super Bowl MVP. I'm making big throws. It's like, well, now you just went back-to-back. Now he's back-to-back Super Bowl champ. Now he either beat Patrick Mahomes again in the Super Bowl, which is like, whew, he's beat Patrick Mahomes twice, right? Or he denied Josh Allen the Super Bowl. He denied Lamar Jackson the Super Bowl. He denied Justin Herbert the Super Bowl. He would be denying another great. I doubt we're going to see Geno Smith in the Super Bowl this year. So it would most likely have to be a truly special quarterback. And most likely in the playoffs, he will have now denied, on the NFC side now, denied another Jaden Daniels, denied Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, denied, Shanahan and whatever, right? He would now be denied. The Green Bay Packers, everyone's favorite team right now. He denied that. And that's what you would need as well. And then the continued talk of, the real talk, can the Eagles three-peat? Then it wouldn't matter as much what happens for the rest of the career, for his career. It wouldn't matter where things take a turn, because you would say what this guy did was exceptionally great. The run that he went on was exceptionally great. That it was truly special. That when Jalen Hurts was in his prime, the Philadelphia Eagles did not lose. I mean, how these quarterbacks are going to age over the years, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Everyone tries to pretend like we have an idea, because we're like, well, look at Aaron Rodgers, well, look at Stafford, look at Tom Brady, look at Peyton Manning. Nobody has any idea. Especially these more mobile quarterbacks. Nobody has any idea. I have no idea what Patrick Mahomes is going to look like in 3 years. Or Josh Allen, or Lamar Jackson, or Jalen Hurts. Neither do you. We have no idea. So a lot of these conversations, and that's where the LeBrons and the Tom Brady separate themselves, because they have such a longevity of a career that it's just like it's a different conversation. It really is. It's a different conversation entirely. So these conversations then largely will become, how great were you in your prime? Yeah, Russell Wilson was great in his prime, but he had some awesome moments and some awesome throws and some awesome highlights, but over the years, over a strong stretch of time, was it really the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson? I don't think so. Legion of Boom, He didn't have to do much in the one Super Bowl. He did have that interception. Don't compare that to a fumble, at the goal line. I mean, or, a fumble compared to an interception at the goal line at the very last second of the game. I mean, like, there's such a difference of dramatics here. Like, let's be honest here. But yeah, it's an interesting question. I don't get too hung up in it, honestly, because I really don't, and I don't want to sit here and be like, Jalen Hurts is a Hall of Famer and he's on the track to be a Hall of Famer, because it's like the conversation really doesn't interest me right now, because I think I think he's got a long way to go, and I'm excited to see how his career continues to unfold, how he ages as a player, how he matures and grows as a player. And that's where I do think some of the comps can get tricky no matter what player we're talking about, whether you're trying to compare Russell Wilson or like a Mahomes to a Brady, or a Brady to a Manning, or no, that's a little bit different because that's, the similar era. But just any of these players that are playing currently and kind of in the past, like I think we can get too tripped up by that, honestly. I really do. So, yeah. And I already went through the stats too when I showed you like some of the big moments in the playoffs for, say, the Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson, and compared to Jalen Hurts, and what each team asked him to do in the biggest moments. And the Eagles have relied on Jalen Hurts more than the Seattle Seahawks relied on Russell Wilson during those Super Bowl runs. That's just the reality of the situation. That's why it's sometimes when we make these comps, they seem accurate, but like not as much as we would think. And it can't just go by wins and losses either. The Philadelphia Eagles needed more out of Jalen Hurts in 22 in that Super Bowl than the Kansas City Chiefs needed Patrick Mahomes. And again, those are the rules that they created, because Patrick Mahomes didn't throw the ball 30 plus times, and he didn't even throw for 200 yards. So it's just, those are the rules that they created. He can't even throw over 200 yards. I mean, my goodness, you're just not a good quarterback. Those are the rules. Those are the rules. So, I don't know. I was talking about this earlier today, just about what another Super Bowl win would be, what it would mean for Jalen Hurts and this Philadelphia Eagles team. And I think the stakes are pretty massive. And although I'm not a big believer in the whole back-to-back, meaning that means it's more special, or the three-peat means it's more special, that's just not how I view things. I've said this again and again and again. When the Kansas City Chiefs were trying to go for the three-peat, I said, it's not more impressive if you win 3 in a row, or if you lose this one coming up and then win the next one. In no way do I think that it's like less great. I just don't. It's just not the way how I see things. But that's clearly how other people see things. So I do think going back to back, where Jalen Hurts has been just the front of the NFL, I'm the Super Bowl MVP, I won back to back. You just can't get any more in your face than that. It will be a little different if the Eagles lose this year, but then they win a Super Bowl next year or the year after. Like it would just be a little different, because then they'll be like, see, well, the Eagles, they didn't win when they asked Jalen Hurts, and he did do that thing in that game at that time, right? It gives them more room to kind of just fan the flames of the anti-Jalen Hurts fire. Whereas if you now win again here, there's just no more. Wait, so what are you going to just keep saying? This quarterback isn't a winner, that he's not good, that the Eagles don't need him, that anyone can win with him, with this roster. Like, it's just. You start to look foolish. You start to look silly at that point. It's like, where are you going to go? And it's what Nick Wright was banking on so much with the Kansas City Chiefs, because Patrick Mahomes hadn't been looking so great, and the Chiefs as a whole. But if they pulled off the Super Bowl and had the three-peat, and this is what I kept saying, it's going to ruin sports conversation, because that's just going to be the automatic go-to. And people could still say, hey, Mahomes doesn't really look like he's been playing that great. And he would be like, you're ridiculous. What are you talking about? He's just won 3 Super Bowls in a row. How dare you say anything like that? And it's just like, right? Like it just starts to get tricky. The conversation started to get tricky. And so I guess, like I said, I guess Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles they just have to just win they just have to go undefeated from this point out. They just can't lose a single game. And they just have to win that Super Bowl. They got to get the bye, and then they got to win those 3 playoff games. The divisional round, the NFC Championship game, Super Bowl, and they would and trying to think what would be more monumental, beating Patrick Mahomes again in the Super Bowl or denying a Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen a Super Bowl ring. What would be a bigger legacy move? I don't know. Because you could say Eli Manning denied Tom Brady, so it's just like, I don't know. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jalen Hurts being on a Hall of Fame trajectory? Do you believe it or not? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.